Welcome back to Alexploring. This is Alex. We are here at Alum Creek Dam. There's a historical marker here. We're going to learn a little bit more about this dam and what it does, how it was built, what was here beforehand, and yeah, let's get started. We got a few stops on this short after work adventure, so let's get exploring. This Alum Creek Dam has a park here, along with a beach that's along the lake here. Um, that there's a lot of people here now, so we're going to take a look at the historical marker, and then I kind of want to take a view from top of the dam. So we made it to our first historical marker. This is commemorating the Africa community up here in the Powell, Orange Township, Olentangy, Westerville area. Let's get started. Samuel Patterson arrived in East Orange in 1824 and within a few years began to hide runaway slaves in his home. He also invited anti-slavery speakers to the pulpit of the East Orange Methodist Church, which brought Patterson and his new neighbors into conflict with the bishop. Following their consciences, they became Wesleyan Methodists and built a new church. A pro-slavery neighbor mocked them by calling their community Africa, and so East Orange was renamed to Africa. The village has disappeared, but several homes owned by Patterson and his neighbors still stand in this vicinity. And on the other side of this marker is a little bit more about the Africa community. In 1859, slaves from North Carolina plantation owned by the Alston family were sent north. The plantation's mistress had disapproved of slavery and made arrangements for the slaves to travel to Ohio and freedom. These slaves moved to the community of Africa, lived in log homes, were employed by the anti-slavery farmers, and joined the Wesleyan Methodist Church. After the Civil War, the free slaves left Africa and settled in the communities of Delaware and Westerville and Van Wert and Paulding counties. It's a great way to start the video with a Black History marker. There's more and more of these now, but there's still a lot of stories that have not been told through these signs yet of Black Americans here in Ohio. All right, so now that we're closer to the dam here, let's go over some quick little facts here about Alum Creek Dam. It was built by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers in 1970, finished in 1973. It was authorized, the construction was authorized by the Flood Control Act of 1962. This area was first settled by a Dina culture more than 2,000 years ago. So the people that were over in the High Banks area, like we've seen in the previous video, which I'll link in the description below, went through a few mounds and stuff like that, and they were all the way up here too. So also about the Native American history around here, the Lenape tribe settled in where current day city of Delaware is. They had a 400-acre field of corn in where what would be downtown Delaware now. So it's a very fertile area. Lots of people coming and going through the Native American cultures. Then, fast forward to the Revolutionary War. We successfully leave Britain, become the United States of America, and in 1805 the first permanent settler was Moses Bigsby, and he purchased that land through a program that gave Revolutionary War soldiers the opportunity to buy land. So he bought this area of land, but as the years gone by, fast forward closer to 1812, not far from here, Fort Cheshire was built. We now know that the area is Cheshire Road, but they built that fort to protect the land that was, you know, going to be under attack from Native American warriors as well as British soldiers. So this area had a lot of history before they even built this dam. And here it is in all its glory, the Alum Creek Dam. As you can see, built in 1973, opened. These floodgates will open when there's so much water in Alum Creek Lake on the other side of this hill. It's a lot of stairs here and kind of winded. As you can see, traveling up the dam. We made it to the top. Took a lot of effort, but we made it. Absolutely gorgeous. So this dam was built to bring water into the city of Columbus, as well as surrounding suburbs such as Westville, Worthington, Dublin, Powell, all of those areas. You know, it was built here, 50 years ago now. So Alum Creek Dam celebrating a 50th anniversary of existence. So we have a few more stops to go, but Alum Creek Dam's pretty awesome. They even have a RC, a remote control airplane field as well, so come check that out. So we're making a quick stop 1 mile down the road from Alum Creek Dam. We have the Ohio Bicentennial Barn for Delaware County. In 2003, when the state turned 200 years old, every county had a barn painted with the Ohio Bicentennial seal painted on it as well. So if you're touring Ohio, check out each of the barns in all 88 counties of Ohio. They're pretty awesome. We have made it to our next Ohio historical marker. It's the history of Jainism in Ohio. If you can't hear me, I will cut this out and overdub it, but a lot of traffic on this road over here. Let's check this out. You can see here that they had to fix this, but I expect that it's right now. This side of the sign is going over the history of the Jain Center of Central Ohio. It was established May 1291. The foundation stone of the temple of the Jain Temple, the first of its kind in Central Ohio, was laid down on October 15th to 16th, 2011. The temple was dedicated in July of 2012. More than 1,000 people from all across Ohio and many other states and India participated in holy rituals to install deities of Jaina, translated as spiritual victors and God. Following the rituals, the temple was open for regular worship. The Jain Center is a place for teaching of nonviolence, reverence for life, and compassion for all beings. The Jain principle of karma states, as you sow, so shall you reap. So this is the religion that we get the concept of karma from. But they have a very nice facility here, and they have some more traditional Indian architecture mixed in with the zoning guidelines for buildings here in Orange Township. See here. Still very much fits in with the neighborhood, but does have its cultural significance in the architecture. That was the most recent Ohio historical marker that we have gone and seen. And yeah, so let's make our way to our next historical landmark and follow us. All right, we have made it to our final stop here on this trip, and we are at the Liberty Presbyterian Church. It's founded in 1810. A lot of historical significance here, so let's go learn what we can, hear about early Presbyterian settlers in the Olentangy area. So here is the Ohio historical marker. This one was placed here in 2007. All about the Liberty Presbyterian Church. The first religious society organized in Liberty Township, where we're at, was formed in 1810 by elders Thomas Seller, Josiah McKinney, and Leonard Monroe. Seller and McKinney came to Delaware in 1802, before Ohio was a state. In 1820, the elders and others built Liberty Church and laid out a cemetery in the land provided by Thomas Seller. Along with Seller and McKinney families, earlier settlers, church, and community leaders are buried here. In 1855, John Seller deeded the 3 acres on which the church was located to Liberty for $1. One whole dollar for 3 acres. The land was only to be used for the church, burying ground, and schoolhouse. In the 90s, the congregation outgrew the old meeting house. A barn church was constructed by builder John Redding, assisted by Amish men Josie and son Junior Miller and their crew. It was constructed in 1996 near the old Liberty Church. Right there. So right next to the site is the church. You can see that the oldest part here. And on the other side of the building is a cemetery. The other side of the historical marker has a story about Nathan Carpenter, the first colonial settler in Delaware County. So born on April 12th, 1757, Massachusetts. During the Revolutionary War, he joined the Connecticut militia as a private and fought at Bunker Hill, where he was wounded. He married Irene Reed in 1781, and in 1785, they moved to New York State. In 1800, Carpenter purchased 520 acres in the Ohio Territory for $1,500. The Carpenters left New York in February of 1801 and traveled to Pittsburgh, where they floated down the Ohio River and used keelboats to go up the Scioto River. On May 1st, 1801, he arrived at his new homestead in Liberty Township, just north of this church. Carpenter built a stone spring house on his farm and in 1804 built the first mill in Delaware County, used for sawing wood and grinding grain. He died in 1814 and is buried at Marycrest, the Carpenter family farm. Pretty crazy that this Nathan Carpenter went from Massachusetts, went through the Revolutionary War, moved to New York, then bought 300 acres of land, which now $1,500 gets you like the corner sidewalk, you know, of an acre. So let's check out this old cemetery. See some old tombstones, and then we will wrap things up. All right, let's just kind of start. Someone was born in 1874. There's a tomb with no name here. Small, likely a child then. Lots of marble. Pretty different from a lot of others around here. This person was a 20-year-old, died in 1869. Here's a Civil War veteran. J.F. Weaver from the 32nd Ohio Infantry. It's also very cool. Love seeing some Civil War era graves. And we have some more here, very hard to see. This person died in 1875, it appears. And his wife buried right next to him. We got some more ornate ones here as well. You can see this tombstone from 1853. 180 years this thing has just been sitting here. Incredible. So here we have looks like we have a stone leaning up against the stone. It's a 60-year-old man, David Cruikshank, died in 1869. Here's an old one. Roxy, wife of Major Bartholomew, born in 1812, right as the British were starting to come back and try to retake this territory. This person was buried. This person was born, and then Major Bartholomew, definitely one of the more dignitaried people in this cemetery. See the son, and also a 3-year-old buried here next to them. We have another couple Civil War veterans here, James Ewell and Alan McCutcheon from the 45th Ohio Infantry. See, a lot of stones here are very worn. You can see this was someone's daughter here, right next to Nancy. So some of these gravesites are very well kept. They have aged well here. But then you have some that aren't as good looking, you know? Very much corroded, eroded. This person looks like they died in 1840. It's almost 200 years ago. You can also see there's some that have obviously, looks like they've fallen. But they are just as worn as the others. Let's head this way. It's starting to sprinkle a little bit, so we might wrap it up a little sooner, but I see some more Civil War veterans here that I want to recognize. So here we actually have a War of 1812 veteran. Looks like it's Thomas Seller. Was this not the guy that was, owned the land? He died in 1851. And that's his little markers show War of 1812 veteran. This is a pretty big cemetery and it's well kept thanks to this church. I really like the font on this one right here. Lorenda A., his wife. The wife of Timothy Andrews, who's right here. Died in 1880. His wife died in 1845, but I really like that font in, below Andrews. Very cool. So here we have George Seller, who died in the 69th year in 1860. But as you can see here, War of 1812 veteran. Wounded in Shiloh, Joseph A. Seller. So that must be this another person from the Civil War as well. Died, wounded at the Battle of Shiloh, and then died in Newport, Kentucky, probably after they brought him back from Shiloh in Tennessee. He ended up dying as a 23-year-old. But his grave is absolutely incredibly preserved in marble here. Here we have another War of 1812 veteran. You can see from this side that star is backwards. I'm not going to touch it though. James Giles, 70 years old. He fought the English and the Native Americans here in Ohio. So this grave site is for two children. They died 2 days apart, a 3-year-old and a 9-year-old. I wonder if there is a story behind it, but there's two daughters here. Margaret and Sarah. So then here's the brother who also died. Um, 10 years before. From the same family, died 5 years before, 10 years beforehand, looks like 6 years. He was a 5-year-old who died. So this family lost 3 children within 10 years. And this is the Joseph Seller here, who all of these kids are from. Obviously the Sellers have multiple grave sites here, and Thomas Seller, I think that's the Thomas Seller here. So I wonder if these are the original tombstones here, but it looks like, yep, they have a marker here. Revolutionary War soldier, born in 1741, died 1816. This was placed here in November 2010 by the Delaware City chapter of the NSDAR. And here is the star that commemorates the Revolutionary War. You see a little 1776. That's how you know that they fought in battles for America's independence. So here's the grave of a doctor who was the wife of James Seller. So people in this cemetery come from all walks of life, all across the country, various stages of American history. So here we have another Revolutionary War veteran, Sergeant Seth Case from Connecticut State Troops. He appears to be just about, in 1776, he would have been 27 years old, serving in the American Army here. But he is, this commemoration stone is here in what seems to be the oldest gravestone area in this beautiful cemetery. So that's Revolutionary veteran number 2 in this area. All right, well, that's going to do it for us today. Thanks for joining me on this short little venture around just the area north of Polaris in southern Delaware County. If you like Ohio history and you want to see more, feel free to like and subscribe, and we'll be back with some more Ohio history, and more here on Alexploring.